All right, let's go ahead and get started today. Today, we're going to be talking about how to grow your remodeling or home improvement business with Google Pay-per-click, otherwise known as Google Adwords. I'm sure some of you guys may have tried this at one point or another, or at least maybe had another company running these for you. But PPC, it's a great way to increase your lead flow. So we're going to be diving deeper into how you can actually have more success with Google AdWords. PPC is really just another arrow to have in your quiver, basically, when it comes to dominating online with your digital marketing. You've probably seen this graphic before if you've been attending some of our previous monthly workshops. But in essence, PPC is another strategy to add to your SEO and your lead generation, as well as working on your social media, your reputation, so on. You really need to have around 5 to 7 lead sources for your business to not only be counting on one source of leads and putting all your eggs into that one basket, basically. Like they say about fishing, you want to have as many poles in the water as you can in order to create consistent lead flow throughout the year. The concept here is to maximize your opportunities, to maximize your brand impressions across all kinds of different platforms. So the more times someone sees your brand, sees your company, the more likely they are to call you. This is what builds brand recognition, but it also builds trust. And we all know that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. We've all heard that saying before. You do this by having great SEO strategies that get you ranked on page 1 of Google. And then you're also doing Google local service ads, hopefully, plus adding in pay-per-click. And now you're all over page 1 of the Google search results, basically. And then you add in your reputation, those gold review stars you can get for your maps listing, obviously are important. The content you're posting on social media and video sites like YouTube, plus offline marketing like your yard signs or graphic wrapped trucks and vans, or any print advertising that you're doing. It takes at least 7 impressions before people really start to recognize your brand. And so there are many ways to get to that magic number of 7. And it's really about trying to have as many irons in the fire as you can when it comes to different marketing strategies, different marketing platforms. So very briefly, I'm a former home remodeler and a real estate developer. So I do know this industry pretty well. I'm also the author of Internet Marketing for Contractors and Builders. I'm an associate member, an industry partner for NARI, the NKBA, the NAHB, and of course, our local Denver HBA here. I'm basically an admitted computer geek. I love this stuff. I wrote my first code back in the late 80s in high school, and we got our first classes going on computers. So been really enjoying digging into everything I can when it comes to computers and especially marketing, how to be more successful. That's also made us very successful in being recognized as a market leader. And then we've worked with builders and remodeling companies all across the country. So this is really, this is what we do. We only work with builders, remodelers, and home improvement companies day in and day out. That allows us to really see a lot of data and to keep refining and perfecting our processes and strategies in order to bring our clients the most success possible. We're not trying to market to every type of industry out there. And I think that's really what helps set us apart. So let's go ahead and jump in today's focus. What we'll cover today in this PPC workshop is really why PPC, pay-per-click, in other words, is the key to unlimited scalability in terms of increasing your lead flow. We'll also show some real examples of campaigns that have achieved success in the real world. We'll cover how to set up and structure your pay-per-click marketing campaign for minimum cost per lead while also maximizing your return on investment. And we'll talk about setting up your key performance indicators, your KPIs, as well as lead attribution tracking and some landing page insights. So a question I get asked most often is, should pay-per-click be a part of your overall digital marketing strategy? And so just to keep things interactive here, I want to ask you guys, is anyone running Google AdWords for your company right now? Put a 1 in chat if you are. If you're running Google AdWords on your own, maybe, or maybe you've got another company running Google AdWords for you. Just kind of want to get an idea of who might be taking of pay-per-click and who isn't. David said yes. George, yeah. Amy said yes. So we've got a few people running pay-per-click right now. But the easy answer here is that yes, you should be taking advantage of Google AdWords. It's the quickest way to generate phone calls. You can get to the #1 ranking on Google with an ad much easier and much quicker than trying to earn your way there to the top of page 1 through some really smart and expert SEO strategies. You can get to the top of page 1 using pay-per-click simply by outbidding your competitors, which you cannot do with SEO. And that makes pay-per-click an important piece of the puzzle. You can't do this with SEO organic. You can't do it with Google Maps. It's just so much more competitive to achieve success in those sections of the page 1 results. And simply put, you just can't buy your way there. And that's what pay-per-click is all about. It's really outbidding your competitors, because Google pay-per-click is an auction. Google local service ads are another great way to get on that homepage of Google, especially at the top of the page. But still, you can't outbid your competitor in the same way that you can with Google pay-per-click ads. That will help you make sure that you're showing up first or second when people are searching for those terms. If you're not sure what Google local service ads are, I did a workshop on that a couple months back. I think that was either July or August. So look that up. Certainly some great benefits to look at when it comes to Google local service ads, which are more of a pay-per-lead than pay-per-click. So key reasons that you can show up quickly for Google ads, whereas SEO takes a significant amount of time, especially when it comes to competitive industries like remodeling. So that's really important to be able to show up quickly. You can also show up as often as possible where your competitors are looking. You can show up for all of the high value keyword terms that are very challenging to rank for with your website. You know, terms like remodeler or remodeling company, remodeling contractor, kitchen remodeling, one of the biggest, most searched keywords out there, bathroom remodeling right up there as well, et cetera. Tons and tons of keywords, hundreds of them, in fact. Now, it takes a lot of time to get ranked for all those big, highly competitive keywords where you're competing. Basically, you're competing against all your competitors, but you're also competing against Yelp and Angie's List and Home Advisor and the Better Business Bureau. All those companies are trying to rank on page 1 of Google as well. So it really makes competing hard when it comes to ranking for organic. And then pay-per-click also has unlimited scalability. And I'll kind of add an asterisk here onto that. It really depends on the market that you're in, because if you're in a small population center, a small rural town maybe, there really is going to be a limited amount of search volume in that area. So there is unlimited scalability, but that's really based on the size of your market too. So you got to be realistic. Are you in a small rural town, small suburb, or are you in the big metro population center like a Denver or Austin, big cities like that? And then Google Ads can be very challenging to master as well. Some of the reasons we find that most pay-per-click campaigns fail is because of the failure to understand the AdWords auction process and the complexity of the industry. In remodeling specifically, the cost per click can be pretty high. It can be, can get very expensive at times. You got to be aware of that. Another one of the reasons that campaigns fail is setting up only one ad group for all of your services. We'll talk about setting up various ad groups and the structure of your campaign a little bit later on, but suffice to say, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see when we go into a PPC campaign for the first time. We get into your Google AdWords dashboard for the first time. We just see 1 or 2 ad groups for all your services. All of those services are lumped into just one ad group. And so that's going to give a lot of conflicting results and lack of conversions as well. So that's a big one. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. And then not using specific text ads in landing pages to group your keywords together is another mistake that people make. We'll also talk about that in more detail. But if someone types in, say, kitchen remodeling company near me, and they land on your homepage or maybe a landing page that starts out with best design build contractor, for instance, there's really no correlation there. You're not showing the person the right service that they're looking for. So having a landing page that matches the ad that they clicked on is really important. And then having strong calls to action and offers on those landing pages to increase your conversion rates is a really easy mistake that a lot of people overlook. These types of mistakes, they happen a lot. And especially when we're talking about you're just getting started with Google AdWords, especially if you're running Google AdWords yourselves, you're really just kind of learning, or worse yet, you're letting Google use Google Smart campaigns. This is where you're letting Google take control of your ad campaign. And then they're sending all that traffic to their homepage or to their website. The biggest thing I can say here is don't ever, forget that Google's goal is to make as much money as possible. They want your campaigns to be successful, but they really want to make a lot of money. That's their first and number one goal, period. So I highly recommend never putting your Google pay-per-click campaigns on autopilot. Google's got to let us optimize this for you. They're smart campaigns, in other words. Don't do that. They'll have you spending more money than you can possibly afford, and you're probably not going to see the results for it. Seems a little counterintuitive, but them making a lot of money and making your campaigns uber successful are not one and the same. They've got a lot of competitors out there, a lot of companies using pay-per-click. So how can they do that for you, but not for someone else? The short answer is they can't. They cannot do that. So it just goes back to rule number one: Google is out to make a lot of money. So to be very cognizant of that. It also really comes down to the structure of your AdWords campaigns. You can get very granular on what the person typed in, to what landing page they go to, what ad group they're a part of, as I was talking about. And so that correlation that you can create, that's the thing that makes these campaigns convert very well. So when you're talking about kitchen remodeling or bathroom remodeling or maybe garage conversions or design build projects, but then you just send them to your homepage. That in my opinion, that better be a really, really good homepage of your website, because it's just not going to convert the same way that a landing page will convert. A landing page that is dedicated to the specific services that you're targeting. So keep that in mind. Let's just take a quick look at some PPC campaign results that we're seeing, just to give you an idea of some numbers here. The biggest thing to keep in mind are that results vary across different campaigns, different cities and states, different services. There's no just plug and play formula that we use. There is no magic pill involved here. Some campaigns work better than others. Some achieve a better cost per lead, maybe a better ROI, etc. So what we're trying to do here is maximize your opportunities, give you more opportunities, more at-bats at the plate, to use a baseball phrase, since we're in the heart of the World Series here. But as you can see here, this company had about a 20% conversion rate from landing page visit to book jobs. And that's really, really good. That's kind of outperforming. And so the cost per lead is really good too, at around $52, which is on par with your cost per lead for SEO campaigns typically. Usually PPC leads, though, are going to be more expensive. That's why having more irons in the fire is better. It helps to average out your cost per lead across all of your different marketing channels. The big thing here is that this client is able to reach out beyond their SEO radius and advertise in suburbs all across the big cities that they're located in. So again, it's just maximizing opportunity, being able to reach out beyond where your SEO results will get you. These results also include ad extensions, which are a way for you to get your PPC ad into the Google Maps section. So that's really important. That's a big key because that Google Maps 3-pack is so important to generating more leads for your company. And so then if you're able to sneak in there with one of your ads, you're going to be at the top of that 3-pack. So that's going to be huge for your business and generating more phone calls and ultimately being able to go out on more consultations and book more jobs. And then some similar results here for this company. You'll see a lower conversion rate at 13.5%, results in a slightly lower amount of leads, as well as a higher cost per lead as well. But still, these are respectable numbers. You know, we can live with any of these numbers here. These numbers will make you more money in the end. They will ultimately, this campaign is given a great ROI. Based on closing just 25% of the qualified leads. So you see, 8,400%, that's $1 into pay-per-click marketing, $84 out in revenue. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about maximizing your opportunities, adding a nice little sum of money to your monthly revenue numbers, month in and month out. And so let's talk about how to set up and structure your ads campaign so that you're minimizing your cost per lead, but at the same time, you're maximizing that return on investment. So the first thing is that you must have conversion tracking in place. You need to know what is converting and what isn't. And Google wants to know this too. Google Ads has inserted its artificial intelligence into its Google Ads platform very heavily. So in other words, the Google Ads process, that auction process I talked about, the targeting options, all have a lot to do with Google's artificial intelligence now. We're hearing a lot about AI, but it's in everything digital now. Just realize that. And so having good conversion tracking is what will be able be the most impactful for your Google Ads. And what I mean by that is Google is looking at all the inputs, all of this data, what people are searching, what keywords they use, et cetera, all that behavior, what pages they land on, how long they spend on that page, do they scroll or not? Just on and on and on it goes with the data and inputs that Google is taking in. And so let's say someone clicks on your ad, they go to your landing page, they fill out the form, and that form converts into an appointment then. Okay, so now you have a booked appointment. This is also future sales data for your organization as well, seeing everything that they've done, all the steps they've taken, all that stuff that you're tracking through your CRM, hopefully. But it's that conversion tracking that was the real lead. And this is extremely important because when Google gets that back to them, Google adds it to their crazy large database of data that they have on everyone, every user using Google, everyone on your website. They're tracking that via your Google Search Console. And so then they take that conversion and they look at the data that they have on that person that converted, all of that person's demographics, their search history, other search-related data that like how they search, why they search, how they buy, all of that data that they have on everyone. They match that conversion to all of that data, and then the algorithm makes changes automatically and starts to try to display your ads to the people that are more similar to that person that they just accumulated all that data on. And then the more data that they have, the better they can align the buyer and the seller. In other words, who's clicking on those ads and you, the person that's showing those ads. And so the more conversions that your company has, the better Google's AI can get at helping you better target your exact buying demographic and thus be better at helping you get to that next conversion. So it's really kind of crazy, all the data and computations that go into this. But that is also one of the reasons why Google Adwords platform is so powerful. And then your ad campaigns must be broken down into small ad groups, each encompassing only one type of service or one set of keywords. And then you want to be very granular and intentional with the keywords that you're bidding on. Make sure you have a strong understanding of Google AdWords match types. And what is sometimes more important than the keywords you're bidding on are the keywords that you don't want to show up for. These are called negative keywords, and they can cost you a lot in wasted money. We'll talk a little bit more about those as well. And then you need to write compelling text ads that resonate with your customers, that entice them to click through to your landing page. And then make sure that you're leveraging all of the different ad extensions available to you in Google's pay-per-click dashboard. Nowadays, to make your ads stand out on a page, you have to have a solid landing page that's built to convert, that answers specifically the question or query or keyword term used that user put in. And then finally, you want to continuously do ongoing split testing and fine tuning to get the most out of your ad campaigns. And so I say first and foremost, though, is don't spend a single penny on pay-per-click, on paid advertising until you have conversion tracking in place. And so let's talk about conversion tracking essentials. Proper conversion tracking includes a dynamic number swapping pool of different phone numbers for your pay-per-click traffic versus your organic or direct traffic. You need to separate those marketing channels so that you can accurately measure each channel individually. You don't want the same phone number being used for your Google Ads campaign that is being used for your website or for your direct traffic or Google Maps, whatever it may be. You need to really separate those out. They're all different marketing channels. Each marketing channel is going to have its own return on investment that you can calculate based on tracking. And then we use keyword pools that have dynamic number swapping so that you can track the phone calls back to the keyword and to the campaign that was used. And so again, with that conversion tracking, that data all gets fed back to Google. This will then let you know what keyword, what ad group is responsible for generating that conversion, whether it's a keyword like kitchen remodeling, or was it a home remodeling company or home remodeling contractor that actually brought them to that landing page. And so now you know the specific search term that was used to generate this call. So keyword pools and a pool of tracking numbers, this is key here. With keyword pools, what happens is if you have multiple visitors to your website at the same time, or they're calling you all at the same time, it will show a different phone number to each of them. That's that pool of numbers that you have. Usually 4 or 5 numbers is enough. You're probably not going to have more than 5 visitors on your website at any given time. And, you know, we're not Target here or Google, Facebook, whatever, local remodeling companies. A pool of no more than 4 or 5 is going to do it for you. And then you can track each one of those as a unique phone call for each of those visitors instead of it all getting kind of lumped into maybe this is the same person calling over and over. And so that's going to really help you with your tracking by using those pools. Also web form tracking and then conversion tracking built into your AdWords campaign down to the ad group that generated those leads. And that way you can know this with whether it was a keyword used that generated that call or whether it generated a web form submission. You still know all that data, no matter what kind of conversion that was, a phone call or a web form. And so let's talk about your most important KPIs here, your key performance indicators. Total ad spend. This is definitely something that you want to be watching and tracking is how much are you spending in total? Does it make sense for you? And then next, you'll be tracking your landing page conversion rates. This is really a measure of how well you're converting people from your landing page to a phone call or a form fill. A great landing page conversion rate is typically about 8% or so. That's because not everyone that calls from that landing page, they sometimes end up starting to scoot around your website, maybe look at different pages, start going down rabbit holes of videos, things like that. You guys have probably experienced that, right? So not everyone that clicks on the landing page will actually call from that landing page's tracking number. Some will start checking out other pages. Maybe they go to your Google business page, et cetera. So we really shoot for about a 15% landing page conversion rate, because we're really super focused on the remodeling industry and home improvement. And so we've been able to test these landing pages for years and years. And essentially, we've been able to kind of double the industry standard in a lot of our campaigns. But 8% is a good number to be shooting for. Obviously, doubling that with experience and lots of A/B split testing and so on is going to be obviously better for your results. So you always want to be doing that split testing to make things better and better, constantly improving, constantly evolving, we like to say. And you also want to look at your average cost per click just to see where that's fluctuating, and then average cost per lead. See where that range falls in, depending on the market that you're in, depending on the services that you offer. Different services, different cities, different states, different size of markets. But in general, it's roughly going to be between $50 to about $100 or so for a good remodeling lead, cost per lead. And then, of course, you want to focus on your overall return on investment. In other words, how much return are you getting for your ad spend dollars? And how does that compare with your ROI, with your other marketing channels, your leads from your SEO program, from other paid ads like Yelp, perhaps, other Facebook ads, maybe. Evaluating your Google ad spend is what we call return on ad spend. You can abbreviate that ROAS instead of ROI. But the one thing I want to point out here with Google Ads, again, I think I mentioned earlier, it's going to be the highest cost per lead out of all the digital marketing channels because it's so competitive, but it's also one of the most mature marketing channels online. And most folks have been using Google Adwords for a long time now. That's why Google makes so many billions of dollars. It will be higher cost per lead, but it still works out, still gives great return on investment. The biggest key to success with Google Ads is really making sure you have all your ducks in a row, right? And by that, I mean, you've dove deep in optimizing your conversion rates. You're optimizing your appointment setting and how you handle calls. You're optimizing your sales process. You're optimizing how you're asking for referrals. Maybe you have a referral program already set up. You're also paying attention to offline marketing that you're doing, such as the graphics wrapped vehicles I mentioned earlier, or utilizing yard signs. All of those things come into play in order to make sure you get as many opportunities and conversions for all of your digital marketing channels that you can. Cost per lead is an extremely important metric. And so if your processes from the appointment set through the sales process are not dialed in, Google AdWords really, being frank here, might not be where you want to be investing your money. It's going to get very expensive very quickly unless you have all that stuff dialed in. Your follow-up, your lead nurture, how soon you're following up with those Google AdWord leads, those form fills. So you really want to make sure that you have all that stuff dialed in to get the most return on your investment, the return on investment numbers that you need to be successful. Being able to understand where the money is being spent, where the return on investment is coming from your digital marketing channels. Now, this is all going to be key to your success. Okay, so let's dig a little more into how to structure your ad campaigns. I want to start with giving you an understanding of how people search. And this is not just how people search for remodeling, but how people search for everything. There are what we call keywords with high commercial intent. That's where you want to show up for in Google AdWords specifically. In other words, keywords that people are using that indicate they have intent, they are looking to buy a product or service. That's what we mean by commercial intent. So general remodeling terms like remodeler, remodeling company, remodeling contractor, types of remodeling services like kitchens, basements, bathrooms, etc. So for instance, people type home remodeling company into Google. They type that in about 3,600 times per month on average in the United States. But on the other hand, people type in kitchen remodeling about 90,500 times per month in the United States. And then bathroom remodeling a whopping 165,000 times per month across the country. And so these are some, really large search volumes when we're talking about all across the country. And that's not even adding in any geo modifiers and any other kind of modifiers, right? Like no cities are being added to the keyword query. We're not adding in local or near me or state or anything like that. You can use these modifiers to further modify keywords by adding in, home remodeling company Denver, or Dallas home remodeling contractor. So those are the geo modifiers that you can add in, and you're going to get different search volume for those as well. So you want to look at the search volume, and you can do that in Google's keyword planner right there in the Google PPC dashboard. Not sure if you guys have used that tool or not, but you can go in there and put in whatever keyword you want, put in whatever city you want, and then find out what is the search volume for that keyword in that specific city, and not just those big numbers I talked about before, like 165,000 bathroom remodeling searches all across the country. That's good and great, but you're probably more interested how many bathroom remodeling searches are happening in my city, and you can get that exact data in Google's keyword planner. And so let's just say we're looking at kitchen remodeling keyword, 90,500 times per month that is searched all across the country. And so if you're setting up these campaigns yourself and you get to a point of, well, what keywords do I choose to focus on? Start with thinking about what will people type into Google when they're looking to make a phone call to a contractor that they're looking for to hire someone like you, in other words. So you want to know with Google AdWords, because the more competitive the keywords, in other words, the more that they're searched, they're going to be more competitive. That higher search volume is naturally going to make them a more competitive keyword. More contractors, more remodeling companies want to buy that keyword, and they want to bid on that keyword in the auction process. And so that's where you're going to get to your higher cost per lead. So you want to show up where people are really looking to take action, that commercial intent that we were talking about earlier. So that's why we're structuring our ad campaigns around that, around the commercial intent keywords, the ones that are going to elicit the phone calls and not just the looky-loos and whatnot. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions on that. But basically, you have all these different kinds of general remodeling terms, and then you have your different remodeling types, your different remodeling services, all these different types of things. And we're going to talk about how breaking those out into different ad groups is really key. And then you have all those geo modifiers, not necessarily just geo modifiers, city and state, but different types of modifiers like adding local and near me in. So that's how you get all these different keywords grouped into different ad groups for better tracking, better conversions, obviously, as well. And then I told you we would talk more about some negative keywords. This is something you really, really want to be paying attention to. I cannot emphasize this enough for you all. These are the keywords that you want to make absolute certain that you are not showing up for when people search that keyword. Keywords that have to do with jobs or careers or associations, remodeling or design stores and supplies, that sort of thing. There is no commercial intent for those keywords, right? And I say this, there's that phrase again, commercial intent. You want people clicking on your ads that have commercial intent. They're not just the looky-loos, not just feeling things out. So examples of this would be remodeling keywords that include costs or design in them. Kitchen remodeling costs, kitchen remodeling designs, examples of kitchen remodeling jobs, things like that. You might get some conversions through to your landing pages with those keywords. That's not impossible. It's not out of the realm of possibility here. But most likely, those people are just kind of in the research phase of deciding on whether they're going to even do this remodeling project and whether they even really want to start looking for a contractor. So you can bring these people into your funnel perhaps continuously retarget them, lead nurture them. In other words, nurture them throughout your lead follow-up process. Continue to market to them, as you should be doing with everyone, but expect lower conversion rates, lower amounts of conversions for these types of keyword queries, just because the commercial intent is not exactly where it should be. Another example that's really obvious is water damage. I know a couple people on here handle water damage restoration, do the whole cleanup, the whole remodel. I see on here Gary. Yep, exactly, Tim. So you guys do a lot of water damage restoration. But when you think about, doing that, the water damage and what that keyword means, it's important that you have those keywords, because there's huge money in this whole water damage restoration realm. But if you're running pay-per-click, you want to make sure you have negative keywords around water damage too. Things like iPhone water damage or water damage to my car, things like that. If you don't have those in your negative keyword list, you will show up for that. You will get charged for that click. And Google, like I said, they're going to be happy to take your money in that. So be very cognizant, because there are tons of searches being done for negative keywords that apply directly to the keywords that you guys are thinking about, maybe even using. And this could be costing you a lot of money. So you want to make sure you start weeding those out. Ultimately, though, make sure you have that list of negative keywords really built out, that you can input into your campaign. You're not wasting money on non-converting keywords. And then make sure you're consistently reviewing your campaigns and your keyword search reports on a weekly basis to see if any additional negative keywords are popping up in your campaign results. Basically, you end up building and adding to that negative keyword list over time. It's never really a set it and forget it. You want to continually keep evolving that list. You might get there at some point, of course, but you're probably not there yet. It would be my guess. And then let's talk about your text ads. You really need compelling ad text. That's important. That's what will get you the click. Less is more, right? It's kind of a truism we always use, but Google actually has very strict rules on how many characters that you can use in your text ads and things like that. So you don't want what you're writing in your text to be cut off and not really get the message across, or really get that key word or phrase in there that you were hoping would be in there, because you have too much stuff written at the beginning of your text ad. And then you want to tell them exactly what you want them to do. What action do you want that user to take? To click to your landing page, to take advantage of that offer, to pick up that phone and call you, to submit that web form, whatever it might be. If you have a special offer or some sort of enticement, then state that offer. Give them a reason to click on your ad versus one of your competitors. And then give them one decision to make, to make that call or to submit a web form. Push for that one action that you want them to take. Don't offer too many options. We always say a confused mind never buys. That's why sending people to your homepage is always a bad idea, because then they can just start scrolling through your website, checking things out. Next thing you know, maybe they get lost. Maybe they click on a video, and next thing you know, they're not on your website anymore. They're over on YouTube or on your social media. And now they start going down those rabbit holes, and now you've lost them. So you want to do one of two things. Give them your phone number to make that phone call, or to fill out that web form. That's pretty much it. That's what a conversion is all about. You want that to happen. You don't want them surfing all around or getting lost going down rabbit holes. And then here are some examples of some good ads that we've seen work over the years. Examples that include a free estimate, or ads that feature fixed price quotes, so that people know there'll be no hidden charges. I know this can be a big one for some of you out there, that there's going to be change orders, there's going to be upgrades that it's going to end up costing more money. And so people really like that transparency up front. This is what it's going to cost based on these parameters. or an ad with maybe a minimum job price so that you can weed out the people that definitely will not be in your budget range. We've talked about that with a couple clients lately that say their minimum budget is 30 or 40,000. Put that out there. That way, the person that wants the $15,000 bathroom done, they're not going to waste your time. They're not going to cost you money in that click and that conversion. So maybe that minimum pricing might help you out. Or even an ad that features accolades or your award-winning designs to entice them to want to kind of click through and see some of those award-winning designs. So everything here, it's very, very straight to the point. There's no real beating around the bush. You don't have time with an ad. You've got that minimum character count. You have to entice them. And how can you do that? How can you bring them in versus them going to one of your competitors? So those are some of the ways that we've written ads that really stand out and get clicked on. There are multiple ads, multiple places for your ads to show up, the search network, the display network. I talked about earlier where we showed that you can get your pay-per-click ads into the top of the Google Maps results now. When you see that 3-pack on page 1, sometimes you see an ad at the top. It says ad. But if you also click on more businesses and get the whole list of 20 Google Maps results, sometimes the first 1 or 2 are ads. And so that's a way to get that ad in there and get you showing up in those in that key search platform of Google Maps. And then you've got your different text ads and whatnot, and then ad extensions, things like that really can enhance your ads and get those showing up in more places as well. So a lot of options in terms of where your ads show up. What I want to do is kind of summarize all of this right now, just to go over and kind of drive some of these points home for you. Conversion tracking is a must. We went in deep detail on this. You really want to get that dialed in. Your campaigns, they must be broken down into those smaller ad groups and not have everything all lumped into one campaign. So you got an ad group for kitchen remodeling, and then all of the kitchen remodeling terms go in there. You've got another ad group in your dashboard for bathroom remodeling. All the bathroom terms go into there. Maybe a general remodeling group. And so that's going to be just remodeling company, home remodeling contractor, so on and so forth. Those all get lumped, all those keywords get lumped into that ad group. And then maybe you've got an ad group for, say, garage ADUs or additions, maybe just room additions, home additions. So that's what I mean by different ad groups. That way you can separate out all of those different keywords. And that way you know which keyword generated that lead, what ad group did it come from, and now you can kind of start adjusting your performance across the different ad groups as you learn, as Google learns your campaign as well. In similar fashion, you must have a strong understanding of the different match types and what you're really bidding on when it comes to those keywords. Is it just one keyword? Does it exactly match, or is it just more of the broader search keywords that Google doesn't use anymore? They don't use broad search with the brackets around it, but those are the longer tail keywords, the bigger, home remodeling company kind of thing, instead of specifically kitchen remodeling. So make sure you really understand the keywords that you're putting in there, and then of course the negative keywords as well. Writing compelling ads is super important. No more need to be said on that, right? You have to entice the customer. You have to understand what the customer is looking for, and then make sure your ad matches that. Is that enticing enough? Would you click on it when you write that ad? Do you say, hey, yeah, that sounds interesting enough, I'd click on it? Or do you write your ad and be like, nah, that might be falling a little flat. And if that's the case, then split test it. Keep split testing. And then I mentioned all the ad extensions that Google provides you in the dashboard, in that Google pay-per-click dashboard that you have to help your ad stand out. An ad extension, examples of that are a phone number link to your ad, or adding a website link into your ad, or maybe a call out. In other words, something that gives your users opportunity to take action. to click through to that special offer, maybe that discount, or that minimum job value. Those are the type of call outs you can use. And then let's see, you want to make sure that all of your ads are going to landing pages, well thought out landing pages, targeted landing pages that match the service with what the user was looking for to begin with. Your landing page will be the money page. Bottom line, this is where the conversion to a call or a web form happens. So you really want to make sure that those landing pages are super dialed in from that regard. And so at this point, I just want to ask, does anyone have any takeaways from anyone? What have you learned so far? What was something that you picked up on? Is there anything that you want to share that maybe you found useful today? I know a few of you on here are definitely running PPC ads. Was there anything in particular that you learned that you're going to implement in your current campaigns? Anything that you can see now that maybe will definitely make a difference? Maybe something like, different ad groups, really that negative keyword list. Maybe you didn't think about that before. So, please feel free to comment. I'd love to get some interaction here. I got a couple more slides here just to go through, but would love to see if you guys, picked up on anything in particular here. And so, obviously we run Google AdWords campaigns for our clients. So feel free to reach out if you want. But here are some questions that you can ask PPC providers that you might be thinking about hiring, or maybe you're already working with and you kind of want to know, maybe they're doing this stuff, maybe they're not. Let me ask some of these questions that Bob put out there. First is, how much of your budget will go to Google Ads and how much goes to their management fee? There are some companies out there, they kind of have this like black box mentality where you give them, a lump sum per month, say $5,000 a month, but you don't really know how much is being spent on actual ads, and then how much goes into their pocket. And they do that on purpose, right? They do that on purpose in order to hide the fact that maybe only $3,000 of that $5,000 was spent on ads, and then they just pocket the rest. Maybe they pocket a couple thousand one month, $1,000 another month, maybe only 500. In the end, they're probably pocketing way too much. And so we have, complete transparency. That's what you want to look for. This is your ad spend going on your credit card. This is our fee per month, and that's it. There's really no other way to do it. You want to make sure that you have tracking in place. All the calls and web form tracking that we've talked about, that's key in delineating what marketing channels of yours are producing the leads and which ones aren't. So this is really a key concept that you definitely do not want to overlook. You want to have KPIs set up. You want your marketing provider to be able to report to you on what's going on with your accounts. What kind of cost per lead are you seeing? What kind of cost per lead are you seeing across the different ad groups? Which ones are performing better? What changes are being made to make the lower performing ad groups maybe perform even better? And then you want to ask them if they're going to be setting up specific landing pages and multiple landing pages for your different ad group campaigns. Do they do split testing? Are they working continuously on split testing in order to continuously be improving your ads and your results? Will they be leveraging those ad extensions, those site links, the call outs, all those different types of things that we can use to enhance our ads? And obviously, as we mentioned above, looking at overall cost per lead and return on investment analysis is really huge. What does it look like, when we split your campaign into different ad groups? Do we see different conversion rates across the different ad groups? Do the different ad groups, the different types of services you offer, in other words, are you getting different returns on investment? That way, maybe you can look at it and say, hey, which ad is working better? Which campaign is working better? Which landing page is working better? All of this this really falls under Google's best practices for their AdWords platform, doing things that Google wants you to be doing, but also things that ultimately bring you more success from your PPC efforts, just by doing all of that analysis, that split testing. It's something you need to do. A lot of folks make the mistake of just, dialing their PPC campaign as well as they can, and then turning it on and letting it run and letting it run for months, and thinking, wow, this campaign is not really working. And you just cannot do that. You have to be testing. You got to be testing your ad copy, your ad headlines, the call outs, the extensions, pictures, the landing pages, the photo gallery and pictures you have on the landing pages. Are they matching the keywords? Do you need to move keywords around into different ad groups to match the landing page that you may have? As you create different landing pages, remember, we're not just sending traffic to our homepage. That's how your conversions will be lost. You may convert them at best case, but worst case is they're just going to get lost in your website, and you're really never going to know if your PPC is working or not. So those are some of the things to really think about in terms of trying to find the best company to manage your campaigns, to make sure they're doing a lot of these things. And so this is kind of a recap of everything I've taught on so far in this workshop, how we do things for maximum success. I'm not going to read through all of this just for the sake of time. We're kind of coming up on an hour here. I like to try to keep these under an hour if I can. But everything on this page, it's everything that we've talked about so far. That includes how you should be doing everything for your own campaigns. Look at this list and think about what things on this list right now are you not doing? Are you not using dedicated landing pages? Are you not using negative keywords? Are you not really tracking your KPIs? Are you not really tracking costs per lead every month and seeing where those fluctuations might be? So there's a lot that you can be doing here that will really help you dial those campaigns in a little better. So pick one or two things and see if you can improve upon your results. I hope all this information has been helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions. Pop them in the chat, or you can reach out to me via email. Hopefully you'll implement some of these changes into your current AdWords campaign. If you do, please reach out and share with me the success you're having. I'd love to hear about it. Our goal is to educate folks and give them the knowledge and tools necessary in order to make the most of their digital marketing campaign, really to find higher and higher levels of success for your company. So thank you, for everyone. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Sophia. Thanks, David, Tim, Gary. Appreciate the comments. I'm seeing we're here to support you in any way that we can. And if trying to figure out all this stuff on your own is just not on your to-do list for all the different hats you're wearing in your company, then reach out to us and let us know if you want help with this. But thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you for participating today. I appreciate your comments. I hope you got some good value from today's workshop. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you again on our next workshop. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.